all Asian teams are quite strong. But you know, we are not the worst ourselves, and we won this event in 2011.
Well, we both had the World Championship just last week in Qatar. Gave us some good practice in preparation for this event.
He likes certain shots that I don't, and vice versa, so that we actually mix up quite well, and that's why I always like to play in this tournament.
I've had a good season. I won a straight pool tournament in the States and the US Open 10-ball championship, so I feel quite motivated, and it's always very comfortable to be on Ralph's side. So I can only speak for myself, and I feel pretty confident going into this.
One step at a time, and the first one is against Indonesia. That's very important.
So will the day of upsets continue here at York Hall? Let's find out. The opening game, Germany against Indonesia. We can cross now to our commentators, Ted Lerner and Nick Halling.
Yes, thanks very much indeed, Ed. Germany, the overwhelming favourites here, the number 9 seeds, the former champions against Indonesia, but being a seed, as you've already heard, not necessarily good news, Ted. 2 have gone, and Korea, the seed that went through, only just staggered through 7-6, so Indonesia will think, we've got a chance here.
Oh, they certainly do, Nick, and race to 7, winner breaks. If Indonesia can get out of the box quickly, they definitely have a chance. But this is a formidable squad right here, Ralph Souquet and Thorsten Homan. The CV of Ralph Souquet alone runs well off the paper, Nick. He has a 2-time world champion, won the World 9-ball championship, World 8-ball championship, 6-time World Pool Masters champion. I mean, you could just go on and on and on with his resume. And Thorsten Homan, a 2-time World 9-ball champion.
7, first right. Germany to break.
Makes you wonder why they're seeded number 9, doesn't it?
Well, they didn't have a good year last year in this tournament, so it is based on performance.
Let's see if they perform. They've certainly got a good run of balls. A couple of balls have gone down a little meld there, the 9 and the pink 4, but let's see what Thorsten Homan can make of this.
Well, Ralph, a good break, except the cue ball got away from him. And you want to look at that on the break shot. Players will hopefully keep the cue ball near the center of the table. And of course, if it was at the center, he would have had a much better shot on that 3 ball. But Thorsten Homan with a long shot on the 3. And as you heard Thorsten say in that interview, the Germans won this event 2011 in the Philippines. And when they get going, Nick, they are unstoppable.
It's freight train, isn't it? And that problem 4-9 meld there looks like it's going to be no problem at all here, because Homan has given Souquet every opportunity. And then there's that little 6 and 8 to be dealt with.
Well, the 4 and the next ball will be the orange 5. Down table.
Well, he broke up the meld, but that's not exactly what he wanted. He wanted that ball to travel up to the top of the table.
So Thorsten will be looking at a safety shot here.
Extension call.
1 extension per rack.
Extension call.
And that'll add another 30 seconds. Growing up, Thorsten Homan, his hero, of course, in pool was the great Ralph Souquet. Ralph 46 years old and Thorsten 36. You're going to get cover? No,
nope.
That didn't work out.
Not at all. So let's see what the Indonesian partnership can do with this. And it's going to be Ursal Nasution to take the first shot. He's a pretty experienced player, isn't he?
Oh, there's some quality talent here. These guys are well-traveled, Great player, Ursal. Now, they're going for this orange 5 ball.
Extension call.
The next shot is the green 6. So how do they get position for that green 6? That's what they're discussing right now.
Yeah, and after the 6th, they've got to get position on that brown 7, which is at the far end of the table. So there's a bit of ping pong to be played here. One step at a time.
They opt for a safety
Yeah, they went
shot.
for safety.
Oh no, that was a two-way shot. Actually, it was a cross-table bank. As you can see, he was hoping to get safe if it didn't go in. That was a very nice effort right there to get position on the green 6 and the possible pot. So now, Suke, the Hall of Famer, the long cut shot on the 5. Oh, and that one is definitely on. But it'll be a bit of awkward cueing for Mohamed Bewi. Actually, he's got another sort of nickname. His it's a lot easier to say. Mohamed Bewi, B-E-W-I.
Yeah, that's easier than Siman Juntak, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, whatever his name is, he's dealt very nicely with that. Now, what's he going to get off the back end of it? And that's not quite so good.
Oh, but this shot, delicate roll down the bottom rail there, but will allow Ursal to bring the cue ball back for. Oh no, he looks like he's going to go.
Yeah, he's heading for
safe.
the hills, isn't he?
Just distance.
Distance, and he wants that black covering ball as well, and I think he's got both.
Well, it's all about percentages for players. That's a low percentage shot to run that down the rail. So much better to play safe. Thorsten will bring it off the rail to kick at it.
Managed to keep the cue ball up, and where's that green going to go? Where does it end? Where does it stop?
Not sure, Ken.
Yeah, does that 9 ball obscure?
I think you can see that, but the cueing's a bit awkward.
Yeah, cueing out of the pocket, isn't he? Well, he should be able to get this, Bewi.
Looks like he's going to swerve it just a bit like that. And that is a very nice shot. There's still a little more work to do for Indonesia. Germany won the lag. Watch out. He got away with that.
Yeah, he did.
That was a little bit little hairy there.
Yeah, that had problems looming all over it, but as you say, he got away with it. And it looks like the underdogs are going to draw first blood here, assuming Ursal Nasution can dispatch this 9 ball.
He does. Nicely done by Indonesia. A little bit of a safety battle. They come out on top and they lead Germany 1-0 here in the Dafabet World Cup of Pool. There you see the history of Indonesia in this tournament. The best result they've had in 2010. A quarterfinals appearance against China, which they lost 9-3. And it's been all misery for Indonesia.
With a couple of
since then.
shutouts as well. 2006 and 2013. Well, they've managed to avoid that already. This would be a notable scalp if they could take the former champions and the highly rated Germans
Right
down.
two.
Long way to go, of
Break,
course.
leading one right to nil.
Mohamed Bewi to do the honors on the break. There you see a good job of getting the cue ball more towards the center of the table. Now, does he have a shot? Yes, there is a shot on the one. You know, Nick, it's not always about just who's the most talented team on paper. It does take time, even for the best players, to get used to the conditions on this arena table. This is their first match out. Oh, he messed that
He
up.
got that one all wrong, didn't he? Well, you heard Jim White talking about that earlier, Ted, and I'm sure you've spoken to some of the players as well. I mean, the message is coming back as we take another look at this miss, loud and clear, that you've got to get used to the pace of this surface.
You just got to get used to not only that, but just the environment, the setup of the tournament. It's a Scotch doubles. You've got cameras all around you. You've got this terrific venue here. They know that there are people watching around the world. It's a big time stage for pool players. I mean, in every tournament, Nick, always the first match out is the toughest.
Well, you guaranteed that there would be upsets in this first round, upsets plural. You've been proved right in the first three matches. And there might be one or two more seeds biting the dust before we reach the second round.
Well, here's a good chance for Indonesia to put a little daylight between them and the Germans.
Now, Nasution was the one that missed pretty badly on the yellow one. So let's see if he can get his eye back in here. That wasn't a good shot. Got away with it. They still have an extension available in this rack. Nasution just glanced behind just to confirm that, because he may need
Extension
it,
call.
and he has indeed called for it.
That's a nice touch right there. I love this York Hall venue. You can hear the creaky floorboards as they walk around. There's like 100 years of history in all that noise.
Yeah, and the rest. This goes back to Victorian times. Nicely played. You know your boxing as well, Ted. A major boxing venue. But it has hosted 9-ball before.
Well, Nick, I know you call a lot of boxing, and I don't think anybody's going to be spilling any drinks on you tonight.
Not
Here.
tonight.
Maybe tomorrow.
It's a little bit quieter than it is normally for boxing in here. That's for sure. And it's good to hear that there is no noise, that these players are being given the respect that they need. And meanwhile, very quietly, Indonesia are putting together a pretty good rack here.
See, this is what we're talking about. What's important is who can get the feel of the table and in the environment first. And Indonesia is looking very good at the moment.
That was a very clever little shot there as well from Nasution. Good control on that. We've got another upset brewing, Ted, already.
Indonesia out quickly, 2-0 over the powerful German team.
Yeah, they had the misfortune of having a little opportunity, not able to do anything with it, so they just have to sit and watch their opponents clean up, and of course they stay on, these guys. You win the rack, you break, and if your break is on fire, you can keep your opponents rooted in their chairs for a long time.
Or a short time, because the match could be over in 30 minutes.
Don't say that to these guys too loudly.
Yeah, it can be a cruel format, the winner breaks.
Thank you, rack 3. Indonesia to break.
Well, I'm sure you've seen matches where somebody's had to go home without even having the chance of making a mistake.
Well, Lu Hai Tao in the Whirlpool Masters lost to eventual winner Shane Van Boening 8-0. He had one shot in the entire match, and Shane ran him out the door.
Sushin spreading the balls all over the place, but nothing dropping. Now that is unfortunate. A dry break and you've spread the balls like that. That's not good.
Yeah, you got to make a ball on the break, and it was a decent shot, a breakout, because he had a shot on the one, but nothing down. So Germany now with a very nice spread of balls. What can you say about those shirts of Team Germany? Aren't they nice?
Impressive. Helps us identify who they are as well. Well, that's coming prepared, isn't it? Fully coordinated. But you saw what this table had left on that dry break, and you thought, yeah, things are going to change quickly again. Yeah, they're already looking ahead to the 6 and the 7. Now the balls that are going to need position.
Yeah, with a spread like this, they've got it all mapped out.
I think Homan's got just enough angle here to do what he needs to do. A lot of communication between these two.
Well, they're great friends, and they've played together on many occasions. Of course, whenever they go to tournaments around the world, they hang out together, practice together.
Queuing over the top of that black 8 here. And making it look simple now. This is the shot.
7 on to 8. Shouldn't be a problem. He's just got to make sure to hit it at the right speed so he gets position.
Yeah.
For the 7 again.
Yeah, you don't want that 7 going walkabout off the back of this, do you? That's what he's got to make sure of. Well, that'll do it. As soon as I saw that dry break, Ted, you knew where this one was going.
Yeah, the balls are spread apart really nicely. So this will be the first point on the board for Germany. Again, Nick, how important is the break? It is the most important part of 9-ball.
They didn't get any luck on theirs, the Indonesians. If they'd just had a ball drop there, they'd be looking at 3-0, but it came up dry. There was a good spread, and it's game on now. 2-1 Indonesia leading, but Germany mounting the charge. Getting on the board. And let's see what happens here. Dry break for the Indonesians last time, and
well, you're going to get the same thing from the Germans here. Wow, and they've left a shot on.
That's a mirror image of what we just saw in the last rack.
Wow, and the Indonesians with a big chance here to put a halt to any comeback by the Germans. I like the way the Indonesians are playing. Ursal and Mohammed are nice pace. Don't seem nervous at all. Seem like they've gotten used to the table, and they're very much in the game here.
And they have been around the block. This is not new territory for them.
This is an ideal spread, Nick.
Yeah, really.
Uh-oh.
That's not ideal.
That's not ideal at all. How many times do we see this in this tournament so far? Players running out of position, and it's very hard to get back into position once you run out of position. Now this cue ball might do some traveling. So it'll be a safety shot. And they didn't want to have to give up the table.
Well, they've let the Germans back on, but they haven't given up too much, have they? All Suke can do here is really try and get safe.
He's trying to marry it up to that 8-ball, and that does not go well at all for Ralph. And you can see him hang his head. He tried to hide the cue ball behind the 8, and he's left it wide open. And this is a big opportunity right here for Indonesia to not just get the point, but to build more confidence.
Well, this is a tricky one. Lasouchen, not the biggest guy in the world, so he's going to get the extension to the end of his cue. But if he makes this and gives his partner position, this rack is history.
Well, they've definitely found their groove here. And Germany has certainly not.
Well, the only rack, let's just remind ourselves, Ted, the only rack the Germans have picked up came off the bad luck of a dry break from the Indonesians. But it looks like that 2-rack cushion is about to be re-established here.
And it's a winner breaks format, so Indonesia will be breaking after these 2 balls get deposited. Nicely stroked.
And Lasouchen can put this one away for 3-1 in this race to 7. And a little bit of a headache developing here for the number 9 seeds.
Okay. Nobody told me last time, so that's why I kept going.
Well, here is what they're playing for. The Koreans staggered through. England A against Australia coming up next. And the other surprise, the Romanians, who came through qualifying and have really built up some momentum in that qualifying tournament. They blew away China 7-4. They await the winners of this one. And I wonder if the bookies are changing and evaluating once again the odds they had on this one, because Germany were the short price favourites. But could we have a Romania-Indonesia battle in round 2?
Absolutely, why not?
Thank you, rack 5, Indonesia to break, leading 3 racks to 1.
One of the lessons I get, Nick, from covering the sport, and I was just in Doha, Qatar for the World 9-Ball Championship. The level of talent in the sport of 9-ball is just astounding what it was a few years ago. They come from all corners of the globe, from countries that you would not normally think, would be traditional pool playing nations, and they just come one after the next, and so you just never know these days.
Now, 3 down here. One little meld to be dealt with. And the green 6 has been pushed up at the top of the table, so it's not a walk through the park, this particular rack.
Romania is a perfect example of what I just said. There's players from Mexico, and wait till you see our Peruvian players later. The South American players can really play good pool.
I have to admit, Ted, that Peru thing was news to me. I didn't know Peru was producing pool players.
Extension called.
Well, a lot of these players don't just play in Peru. They come to the U.S. and they travel around. And there was a good player from Mexico in the World 9-Ball Championship. He spent 2 months in the Philippines. And these guys go all around the world now playing. All right, now Germany has to get it together now because they are down 3-1.
This table's still not easy.
Yeah. Well, looks like the 7-ball, Nick, the only pocket that would go appears to be the side pocket, and there's going to be position on the 6. Unless they can break up that cluster, that 7-9 cluster.
First, you've got to put a ball down. And at the moment, Torsten Homan's eye not quite in. They're just not getting themselves going. Not getting easy shots to play with either at the moment.
They don't have the feel. Indonesia has the feel.
I tell you, if they clean up this table, Ted, that's really going to give them some self-belief, because this is not a gimme table, but if they do it, they're 4-1. They're going to have to make some good shots here to get rid of these 5 balls. This is one of the easier ones. So they've got position on the 6, but can they break up? That's 7-9. Or can they get position on it? As you said, Ted, that side pocket is available.
It looks like he's going to get it.
Didn't look overly happy. I think it traveled a little bit further than he wanted.
Definitely goes in the side pocket.
But where does the cue ball go?
That's a really nice touch.
Really. I mean, that is superb.
I think the Indonesians are playing as good as any team we've seen so far.
Well, they're playing well. They're doing the simple things, and they're doing them right. This could easily be 5-0. But as it is, Indonesia will take 4-1 because they are very good value for it indeed in this race to 7. The Indonesians looking really good. And you think of the history of Germany in this competition, it is rich and impressive. Those guys won it themselves back in 2011. Quarterfinal last year. They've been runners-up, semi-finalists a couple of times. They're always in and around. Only once have they gone out in round 1, and that was back in 2007. But the alarm bells might just be starting to ring now for Germany.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of time to get it together. They're up against an Indonesian squad that their confidence is just building and building. Nothing they can do right now. It's a winner breaks format. Ersal Nasution, the Indonesian, will be up to break.
Thank
in
you,
rack
rack 6.
number 6.
Indonesia to break, leading 4 racks to 1.
Well, I think last time out he came out with a very unfortunate dry rack. but with balls spread all over the table. There was a clean-up for the Germans. Let's see what Nasushian can come up with here. Well, he's left a cluster, but he's put a ball down. And that cue ball is tracking dangerously, but stops.
I think the 2-ball is covered by the green 6.
Well,
So we could be looking at a push
I was
out.
going to say the push out option, or does that go? Well,
Push out called.
yeah, it obviously doesn't. So they go for the push.
That's interesting. They leave a very long shot. It's open, but this is as tough as it gets in pool coming off the rail. So the thinking being that, you know, do they want to tempt Germany into playing offense? You know, when you're behind 4-1, you might say, well, we need to take a chance. We're at the table. We don't want to give it back. So it's a bit of poker here being played by the Indonesians.
Well, that's exactly what you want from the push out, isn't it? You just want to dangle a little bit of bait out there. But they've looked at it and said, we're not taking that bait. Now, will that come back to bite them here?
Well, they're going to have to make a as tough a shot as you could take in pool. Full table coming off the rail, so they don't have a lot of ball to strike. Only the top part of the ball. You have to hit absolutely perfect. Unless they decide to play safe.
Extension call.
Simanjuntak. There's plenty of time. He's taken the extension. Still over 15 seconds remaining. This is a big shot. This to keep control of this table. Nailed it.
That was well done. See, now that's a good example of how Indonesia is feeling it. They got the confidence. They had the confidence to tempt Ralph Souquet and Thorsten Homan with a full table shot on the 2.
And I think there's a chance here that they can break up this cluster coming off this 3. Let's see if he'll go for that, Nasushian. No, he's trying to take it around the houses.
Wow, how do you like that stroke? That is confidence.
Well, it really is. So this is a replica of the 6-ball that they put down in the last rack, that side pocket, and they've got terrific position again. I thought they might think about breaking it up, but they didn't need to. Their control of the cue ball, both of these Indonesians, so impressive at the moment.
See, he doesn't mind making the cue ball travel. That is confidence. This is Scotch doubles pool, the way it's supposed to be played. Boy, when you come in against the likes of Homan and Souquet, you're definitely under the radar. Oh, no.
Dear, oh dear.
That is not a good shot. But it happens. Now, Germany's got to start the fight back right here. This has to be the turning point for them.
Well, if they can't clean this table up, they are in big trouble.
Let's see what the pool gods have to say to Indonesia after that. Will the rolls start to go the Germans' way and against the Indonesians? We've seen it time and time again. When you look a gift horse in the mouth,
Here's Homan looking to dispatch this 7, bring the cue ball back into play for the 8. And as you said it, it's a gift. This table, this rack, handed to him by that miss by Ersan Nasushian. Will that prove to be a decisive moment in this match? They're back in it again, 4-2. But they were thrown a lifeline by their opponents. They should be out of sight by now, Indonesia. Instead, the Germans have got back to within 2 in this race to 7. It's 4-2.
Cue rack 7, Germany to break, trailing 2 racks to 4.
Germans have definitely not been at their best today. So what a time to get something going. Oh, very nearly scratched.
Very nearly.
But they get away with it. I mean, that cue ball, when you see the cue ball traveling around like that, well, it got kicked. But he did not have good control of it even before that, but they got away with it. So there will be a shot on the 1. Natural position for the blue 2. They need to get out here, Nick. They haven't really, I mean, everything they've had so far has been given to them by mistakes by Indonesia. So they got to start creating something on their own and get a little momentum going.
And it's just not coming, is it, at the moment? And even that little kiss there on the oranges has hurt the Germans, because they might have fluked their way into a snooker, but not now. That was a shocking miss.
I don't think Thorsten is himself.
He's not.
It's not the Thorsten that we all know. Last week in Doha at the World 9-Ball Championship, he went 2 and out in the group stage, which was very unusual for a player of his caliber. So perhaps he's just not feeling it. We've seen some horrid shots from Thorsten so far in this match.
Nasution's last trip to the table, don't forget, resulted in an error. So let's see if he can just slide this blue 2 and bring the cue ball back for the 3. Delicately played.
No sign that the miss in the previous rack has affected him. And that is dead center of the pocket. So the Indonesians shooting really good right now.
Well, he's dialed in, isn't he? Siman Juntak. He is absolutely red hot right now. Don't think he's missed a shot.
And look at the position he left. It's got a perfect angle to bring the ball down for the orange 5.
And so long as they negotiate this cue ball down to the bottom of the table, this rack should be simple.
Nobody has gotten the speed of the table better than these guys. And that was the issue in our first 3 matches, that players just couldn't figure out the speed. It was so quick. This new Simonis cloth.
I think he wanted that a little bit more.
A little bit more, he did. Now
he hasn't got the speed, has he? This guy is the guy that's hitting everything at the moment.
Well, the cue ball had to travel more than they would have wanted to, but they still get a gimme, and now a 5-2 lead for Indonesia.
And that all came off the Thorsten Homan miss on the 1 ball. You make an error in this match, you're getting punished. It was Nasution on the receiving end in the last rack, and then Homan getting it completely wrong, and then It's what happens with the cue ball there. That little kiss on the pink, that opened it up. That was the bad luck, but he should have put the ball away in the first place, and he knew it. And you said it, Ted. He's not here yet. He hasn't. His tournament hasn't got started, and it could be over in a couple of racks.
No, and you can't play at that level and expect to beat anybody here at the World Cup of Pool. The Indonesians have not had a good history in this tournament. They've played in every single World Cup of Pool. But right now, they are playing as good as any team has played so far.
Indonesia to break, leading 5 racks to 2.
And this man in particular, been a couple of errors, just 2 from Nasution. He's had a dry break, but this guy is nailing everything. 1 ball down.
Can Nasution chip this 2-ball in?
And then that cue ball's going to have to do some work as well. But if he can chip this in, as you say, Ted, and get position on that 3, there are no more major headaches in this rack. But that's a big if. Nice. And that's dropped. And has he beaten the pink? He has.
What a superb shot.
A little bit of contact with the pink wasn't ideal, but at least he's avoided it.
You know how you know they have the feel of the table? I mean, those are shots like he hit on the 2, so delicate. You have to hit that perfect because that can very easily go astray. But you have to hit it at the perfect speed, and he did. Now,
this has traveled a little bit more than he would have wanted. So he goes for the combo.
Boy, things are really going their way. Even if that 4-ball had gone, they had position on the 5.
Now remember, he missed into a side pocket a couple of racks ago, Nasution.
Well, that was the other side. I fancy him to make this.
Okay.
Well, I had a little issue there going in, but it did go. You can see that. Just, you know, that was a fraction from staying out. But this guy right here, Mohamed Bewi.
He doesn't seem to be able to miss at the moment, does he?
He's in that rarefied zone.
Yeah, really. 2 pots for the hill. And Germany all over the place.
Will this continue to be the year of the upstarts?
Well, that's what they'll be thinking in the Australian camp at the moment, because they're up next against the #1 seeds and defending champions, England A. But this one is turning into a rout. 6-2. Indonesia just running away with it. Well, this is the practice area. England A against Australia coming up next. The Aussies in the background, the English boys just warming up their queuing arms. I guess nobody's going to be putting any money on anybody the way the results have been going so far in this tournament.
How about those black England shirts? They're kind of looking like the All Blacks, Nick. I mean, what are they're going for the mean look this year?
Well, blending into the background there, aren't they?
There you see the Aussies in their traditional green and yellow. Darren Appleton standing there and Carl Boy shooting. Eager to defend the title. They won in dramatic fashion last year. Coming back to defeat
rack 9.
the Netherlands.
Leading 6 racks to 2.
Right at the wire in a miracle finish.
And the defense of that crown might start very soon. If Nasution can come up with a big break here. Well, is he coming up dry again? I think he might be. He's not had the best of breaks.
Dry break, but adding a little insult to injury for Germany. Just at the last second, the 8 ball comes in. I believe it may cover the one, or possible there is an alley there. Hard to see from. Oh, there. Okay. All right. Well, he can shoot it. Now it's time to convert.
Well, they have to. They have to split up that little 5-9, or is it the 7-9? Not quite see from here, but something is very close to that 9 ball. It's the 5. I was right first time. They've got to get that separated. And the 3 and the 4 close together, but makeable. It's just that little 5-9 they've got to deal with. Assuming they put this one away. Well, the good news is it was Ralph Souquet with that shot, because Torsten Homans had real problems. But if he makes a mess of this one, Ted, he might as well pack his cue up and go home.
Yeah. Torsten needs to let his arm out, loosen up a bit. That's a good start right there. Beauty of the winter breaks format is that they're never out of it, because as long as you're standing at the table, you can continue to play and keep your opponent in their chair.
Yeah, you just freeze them out. Right, what do they do off the pink? Will that 5 travel into the center pocket?
Yeah, that's what he's looking at. It will go.
Yeah, there's the proof.
No point in looking at the scoreboard at this point. Just take it one shot at a time.
Yeah, that was nicely played, and that should be the rack. And this is just what the German partnership needed. A chance to just loosen up at the table again. I think you said it. Torsten especially needs to get his arm loose. Play some shots.
So if they can clear these 3 colors, and this is about as elementary as it gets, Germany's got to produce a break and run in the next rack. That would start to apply a bit of heat onto the Indonesians.
But remember, the Germans now working, Ted, without a safety net. One slip, and they're going home. Put it this way, whose shoes would you rather be in right now? Not these guys. They've still got some work to do. They've kept themselves alive. They've grabbed the opportunity. They've got a few pots as well. And for the first time in the match, a little bit of conviction around their work as well. But as Ted said, we need more of the same if they're to extend this. 6-3 Indonesia. We'll take a short break. Back with more in a minute.
Germans would like to see a few more of those 9 balls go down and a few more fist pumps. They need it. They trail Indonesia 6-3, but
not been a good day to be a seed.
Germany to break, trailing 3 racks to 6.
Germany just put together a good rack. Can Torsten Homan avoid the dry break and keep their mini revival going? Remember, one mistake, and there doesn't look like to be too many mistakes on that particular break. Look where he's left the cue ball. But is the 8 obscuring the 2? It got close.
One ball down, 4 ball down. Nothing's coming easy for the Germans.
And of course, they've got to play this in the knowledge that if they give the Indonesians anything, one shot, this could be game over.
Well, they're going to have to play safe here, so the Indonesians will get back at the table.
Suke looking for cover.
He wanted that. He would have preferred the 2-ball to be right behind the 8, and that would have been a tough one to hit.
Not the toughest escape.
Extension call.
So we're looking at a jump here from Nasution. Now he's looking to try to pot it in the upper right-hand corner, and if he makes this, probably have position on the red 3, and he should get a standing ovation from the crowd.
This would be an extraordinary shot if he makes it. Well, you can't play it much better than that. That is close to 100% perfection. This is brilliant.
Shot of the tournament right there. And not only just making the 2 in an incredible shot,
yeah,
but position.
Look where he's left that cue ball.
For the 3.
Close to perfection. Which is what the Indonesians have been this evening in this match. And the odds on Germany are going through the floor right now. The number 9 seeds need a miracle, and they need a helping hand from Indonesia, who are 5 pots away, 4 pots away now from a place in the next round where Romania await. This is the shot. If they get position off this, it's all over.
I mean, everything's just going perfectly for the Indonesians. They're leaving the cue ball in really nice position. So this one's a little bit too straight.
Yeah, that traveled a bit further than they wanted.
You can see he's have to jack up. Things can go wrong when you jack up like this. He's going to have to try to juice it back. Wow.
This is really, yeah, they're making hard work of this.
Well, but I mean, that was a good job. I mean, he lost a little position there, and they're playing really well. A lot of confidence.
But this is missable.
Not for him, it's not, Nick.
So easy. Well, the cry of celebration from Mohamed Bewi there. But the final act of this remarkable match will be made by Ursal Nasution. This for a place in the next round. And the defending champions bow out. The upsets keep coming. Add Indonesia to the list. And that, Ted, was a really well-played game of 9-ball.
Best we've seen so far here, Nick. It's a day of the dogs, the underdogs, here at the World Cup of Pool. Indonesia wins 7-3 over Germany.
Opening day of upsets at the Dapperbet World Cup of Pool continues. Indonesia defeating the 2011 pairing from Germany comfortably in the end. 7-3 wire-to-wire victory for them.